I'm a guy who likes himself some very pointed data. I think that that's the most accurate way that we can assess a situation, and if we don't have the available numbers, we can't really know what exactly is affecting a situation. I think we can all kind of realistically agree on that, and the way that the media likes to mischaracterize this Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light boycott in general as just a bunch of angry hillbilly conservatives. Well, now that we have the specific state-by-state data, at least in the United States, global sales don't really have too much to go on for right now, but we can take a look in the homeland who is not purchasing the product. Spoilers, nobody, and couple that with a side of very few. So former Anheuser-Busch executive warns Bud Light sales figures will get worse and worse until the brand makes a comment about what customers they're going to serve amid the Dylan Mulvaney backlash, which is incredibly important. Yeah, state your purpose, because everybody knew beforehand, like, it was not at all up for dispute what Bud Light was trying to serve. Sports fans, frat guys, people with not so much of a discerning palate, but anybody who just kind of wanted to get drunk with, a little bit more class than, people that unironically drink Natty Light, shout out Lady Di. But if you're a Canadian Lucky Lager, but, hey man, now you toss a wafy tranny into the mix and you just kind of, gum up all of the works. So that's marketing 101. You have to know your target demographic and you have to drill down vociferously. And if you don't, and you just, in an attempt to serve everybody, you end up serving nobody. And that's where Bud Light finds itself. A former Anheuser-Busch executive has warned that Bud Light's sales will get worse and worse after the partnership with transgender influencer. Yeah, influencing them to do the opposite. Do you think Coors, maybe it was an op at this point in time, given how effective this has been? Maybe a competing beer brand. Maybe it was Yingling. Yingling and Coors got together and threw the $50,000 in the pot and turned it over. And it's like, hey, can you go drink a Bud Light or something like that? We'll make a can for you. Because Anheuser-Busch, they're trying to, pass it off. You know what? The more I think about, anyways. No, but America's flagship beer brand. It's the largest brewer that's out there. Flagship, well, you drop one letter off of it, you might be a little bit more on the nose. Anyways, beer brand has been in damage control since Mulvaney shared a post. Yes, a series of promotional posts. No, it was just one post and one can. Bud Light sales fell for a fifth consecutive week as people continued to boycott and following the controversial collaboration, and they are now down by nearly 24% in the week ending in May 6th. Anson Fredericks, a former president of Anheuser-Busch InBev's sales and distributions. Just go ahead and say it all out together because it just sounds stupid if you abbreviate, a very long, goofy-ass name. Believes the brewer's sales will continue to sink until it comes out and emphasizes which customers they are going to serve. And if you watched the video from yesterday, you would figure out that the gays don't want you. They don't want you because you weren't gay enough. And hey man, if you want to go down that spiral of wokeness, be my guest. Frankly, if you want to capitulate to the other side of this, be my guest. I don't drink, so I've been boycotting this stuff since day one. Consumers feel like merch, they've had an impact. And every single week, these sales numbers are being reported. They're getting worse and worse every single week, Fredericks told Fox News. Because, this one damn post with, is that CGI jewelry? Okay, was it even, because that one right there, that strand of black pearls, added pearls, that looks off. That looks off. You might hear in the background some Bud Light enthusiasts as well. I live in the neck of the woods where it's not uncommon, and frankly, whenever I go out for a very long run, I've seen multiple Bud Light cans. Not any new ones, but I've seen them on the side of the road. So yeah, I know the people who would normally drink this stuff. They don't look like Dylan. I'll just leave it at that. They might drink so much Bud Light where they might take a Dylan home, but no, normally not what's happening. So I see this continuing to drag on, good choice of words, until Bud Light makes a comment about what they stand for and what their customers are going to serve. Exactly. You have to reassert your mission statement at this point in time. Like, hey, you guys fumbled the bag so many times over that if you don't come out and you aren't strong with your statements, it's a wrap. It's a total wrap. You will go the way of Schlitz. With Bud Light, there was never any brand or part of the message, and I think that's what's upset so many people here. Exactly. This was, like I said yesterday, the Black Swan event where you had a company that did something that was just so off base with the rest of their consumers. Because you take a look at the other brands that Mulvaney has advocated for and taken sponsorship deals from Maybelline, Nike, KitchenAid, a couple of different hotels and everything. Didn't really do anything to them on the other side. Didn't have that same enthusiasm there. And yeah, conservatives go to hotels, right? And those trad thoughts, we know that they love themselves some makeup. So let's stop the cap if you think Maybelline was going to take a hit off of that. But Bud Light doing this specifically, you're not likely to see it anywhere else. And if you guys tune in for the stream that we're going to be doing a little bit later, you're going to wonder why Miller Lite, because they had another controversial ad campaign come out recently. Why exactly did that one not stick? I put my ideas out there, but we'll hear straight from the horse's mouth. Damn it, got so close. For the week ending in May 6th, in-store sales of Bud Light across the United States were down 23.6% compared to the year before, and the week before that, ending April 29th, sales dropped 23.3%. So yeah, they continue at larger chunks to fall and plummet and go down. It's great to see. Follows a decline. A decline from the week ending April 22nd, which were down 21.4%. In the 7 days earlier, a dip of 17%. So as word spreads, it's unfortunate. Sales don't appear to. Bud Light marketing vice president Alyssa Heinerschneid and Daniel Blake, who used to be in charge of the mainstream brands, took a leave of absence following the controversial partnership with Mulvaney, which apparently the people up at the top weren't aware of, which is also why I've seen this talking point posited throughout a bunch of the commentary sphere on this topic. The CEO, Brandon Whitworth, if I remember his name correctly. Yeah, the CEO on the American side. He could be in some hot water because we've seen the stocks downgraded. Okay, they lost their branding from being an inclusive work environment for, the ESG gods. And I don't really take all of that stuff all that seriously, but if you take a look at the numbers and the dollars and the cents, and that it's week after week, month after month, and that there's nothing really coming back off this atrocious ad campaign, like they haven't done anything. It's the number one beer in all of America. At least it was at one point in time. But you guys have not resuscitated it at all. You haven't even mitigated the bleeding. The next person that's going to be placed on a leave of absence could very well end up being that CEO if we're keeping it a buck, because that's about all they have left in their coffers. But yeah, talking about the redesign for, Bud Heavy. Yeah, Bud Heavy. Oh, we're going to be partnering. We're going to be more patriotic. It's great and fantastic. And come on, we got smiling trannies. It's great with weird hook noses. Yo, you were going in for that facial feminization surgery, but you didn't want to do anything about your Dobby, the house elf nose. That's a scary sight. Yuck. But yeah, then we have sales figures, which I'm going to be very interested, because next week we'll get, obviously, another sales update. Hopefully we get a little bit more insight into the global sales figures, but time will tell. But Miller Lite going up 13.6%. I want to see if there's any impact that they had, even though Coors and Miller are under the same umbrella. I just want to know if Miller's going to be taking a step back from that feminist ad that got unearthed. But here's the more interesting numbers, because me, as a man of science, I do love me some numbers. So Bud Light's sales plunging across the United States. But no, it's just those pesky conservatives, right? And then, okay, so in the Northeast, where a vast actually the states that they have, sectioned out at 14% down, you got Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Not necessarily Bud strongholds. Up there, it's Pabst Blue Ribbon. Probably a few more local breweries. So, okay, down 14%. Interesting. And this is from when exactly? But no, that's interesting as well. Yeah, Mid-Atlantic, so Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey down 19%. That's a lot of people right there. Okay, so you got, Philly, Pittsburgh, New York City, obviously Jersey and their suburbs as well. Yeah, that's a lot of people. Down 19%. How many conservatives outside of, rural Pennsylvania and rural New York? A vast majority of them, would you consider them conservatives? 20% make up that? I don't really think so. And then the South Atlantic, right down the rest of the seaboard, that's pretty significant. 25%. North Carolina, I thought that was a swing state. Thought that was a purple state. Interesting. And then you got Virginia in there, suburbs, and D.C. Come on, Maryland, Delaware, Georgia, Georgia went for Biden, right? Interesting. Florida. Oh, yeah. Florida's doing all the heavy lifting right there. But then, yeah, okay. So now you get into the South. Okay, you got Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. Okay, you got those 4 states down 25% as well, alongside the Midwest with North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Minnesota. Minnesota. A lot of conservatives there. Yeah, interesting. And then the rest of those states, rather sparsely populated. Yeah, and then the other parts of the Northeast, I'm sorry, the Midwest, duh. Anyways, yeah, you got Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit, big conservative hubs right there. And then you can see, okay, so the mountain region, down 29%. Let's play spot the problem here. You take a look at the rest of this stuff, it almost looks like it's universal across the board, that it has nothing to do with political affiliation. It's almost like you break everything off. So, yeah, you got the West, okay, that's the only place where, okay, I'll give it to you there. Not a lot of conservatives outside of the, big cities, the big population hubs. But if we were going to see this big conservative backlash, the biggest places would be in Texas and Florida, all across the Midwest. But we're seeing it universal across the board. Everybody's pissed off by this. And then, yes, with the confirmation from yesterday that the big gay lobby is big gay pissed off. So what are you going to do about those numbers? What are you ultimately going to do about those? The CEO that wants to keep his job, well, he would assess that situation, realize that, oh, God, we screwed up horrifically, and then try to remedy the situation. Maybe, because we haven't really seen outside of that one incredibly poorly received commercial, which harkened back, and it still had influences of diversity casting, if we're going to keep it a buck. You'd realistically kind of have to build off of that base that you have right there, but the base that you do have left, whatever's, willing to stock up on, big cases of blue for the weekend, because you guys, Memorial Day is coming up next weekend. Oh, God, we aren't going to see those numbers for a while, and Bud Light's going to do the best that they can to hide them as much as possible. It's not going to look good, and next month, oh boy, it's definitely not going to be good at all. Bud Light is, oh Lord, for all intents and purposes, absolutely dead at this point. And, well, hey, as everybody across the United States is boycotting this stuff, just, hey man, next time get on my level. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.